Hello, my friends. Today is day 108, and we're reading Psalm chapter 17, chapter 35, chapter 54, and chapter 63. But before we get into our recap for today, I want to thank you for taking a moment to check out this video. And hopefully you are finding the yearly Bible reading program to be helpful and beneficial to you as you read through the Bible. If you have not yet accepted the invitation, please make sure you check out the invitation of the description box below. And there you will find the link that will take you directly to the YouVersion Bible app, and you can follow along and be a part of the journey where there are several people across the country reading the Bible and leaving feedback on the things they're learning. So we'd love for you to be a part of that, and hopefully you will find it beneficial and helpful. Now, today we're reading through the Psalms. We are at this point in David's life where he is enduring some of the challenges and some of the things that will come to him through Saul, the person that actually he's there to help. And we found in yesterday's reading that there were a number of things that David did to show his integrity and show his honesty before Saul. And we also see that the Lord was able to give him a few victories to demonstrate that he is with him and that his hand is upon his life. So when we read through the Psalms today, we kind of see some of those things. We see also a few prayers that he offers to demonstrate his reliance on God. If you look at chapter 17, verse 3, you'll see one thing that is typical of David, how he sometimes expresses his trust in God and really the integrity of his heart. And so if you look at Psalm 17 and 3 and then tie that back to 1 Samuel chapter 26, which we read on yesterday, you'll be able to see why he wrote what he wrote in verse 3. You have tested my thoughts and examined my heart in the night. You have scrutinized me and found nothing wrong. I am determined not to sin in what I say. I have followed your commands, which keep me from following cruel and evil people. My steps have stayed on your path, and I have not wavered from following you. So if you can take what's going on in his life and then contextualize what we're reading in a psalm like chapter 17, you'll be able to see how he's actually measuring what he does by the commands of God and the will of God. And he's coming out in the right, if you will. He's demonstrating that he is honest and integral. Now, if you look at chapter 35, we'll see in this chapter that there are a number of things that are worth noting. It is considered to be a psalm that he wrote, that is David, and he begins by saying, Lord, oppose those who oppose me. So you see, this is not just like a pushover type thing where David is saying, listen, I'm going to do the right thing and I don't care what happens. What he's saying is, no, I'm going to do the right thing, but I'm going to put the people who oppose me into the hands of God. And so what he's not saying is, Lord, I don't care what happens to them. Lord, don't let anything happen to them. What he's saying, no, I want something to happen to them. I want there to be some sort of vengeance on these individuals, but I don't want to be the one responsible for it. Now, tie chapter 35, verse 1 to what we read on yesterday in 1 Samuel, where we were seeing that there were instances with Nabal, right? And in chapter 20, let's see here. Yes, 25. In chapter 25, we see Nabal, of course, is ready to go against David. He's not willing to grant his request. But then the Lord smites him. And in verse 39, he says, praise the Lord who has avenged the insult I received from Nabal and has kept me from doing it myself. Nabal has received the punishment for his sin. And so in chapter 35, we see where when he prays, Lord, oppose those who oppose me, fight those who fight against me, put on your armor and take your shield, prepare for battle and come to my aid. And he begins to explain how he wants God to appear as a warrior for him. You see why he is doing this and what his mindset is. His mindset is, I don't have to fight, but I know one who will fight for me. Okay. And so this is the way he embraces his life. Now, in chapter 54, we see there are more Psalms being written, and it demonstrates in chapter 54 that this was a Psalm that David wrote when he was hiding. And he's asking the Lord to come and rescue him, to be his helper. He knows that there are some plans out there. If you look at verse 5, he says, may the evil plans of my enemies be turned against them. Do as you promised and put an end to them. Meanwhile, he says, I will sacrifice a voluntary offering to you. I will praise your name, O Lord, for it is good. And he's just continuously relying on God's supernatural, his providential power. And this is how he fights his battle, particularly with Saul and other ones as well. In chapter 63, we find that there's a psalm written when he was in the wilderness, and this is as he's traveling in the wilderness of Judah. And you continually see him saying how God is his God and that he has a desire for him. One of the things I love about David, and particularly in this isolated area, right? One of the things that we commonly see of David is that he often refers to his deep desire to be in the presence of God or to be with God. And so in verse 1, when he talks about my soul thirsts for you, my whole body longs for you in this parched and weary land where there is no water. Imagine a person going through the wilderness in a land that is desertous, is like, it's dry. You know, you're physically going through the difficulties of being in a land where there's no water, there's a drought, whatever the case may be. But then you think about how that parallels your own inner condition, your own soul, where you're like, listen, my heart, my soul is longing after God in the way that my body would long after a fresh drink of water in this dry land. And it's an amazing way to express one's desire as it relates to the physical condition that they're facing. And this is what makes the poems of David so tremendous. This is his ability and his strength. And this is why worship was forever changed when David came into the picture, because there's this sort of poetry and this sort of expression that is found in his words and in his writings that we don't get from other writers. Okay, so we're going to keep reading. I would encourage you all to do some of what we read David is doing. Create a journal of your heart's desires, of what your heart is saying to God as you think through your own circumstances and your own life problems and even the joys of life. Be careful to write those things down so you can reflect upon them, and perhaps someone else can reflect upon them and see what God has done in your life. Well, friends, let's keep reading. Let's keep studying. Let's keep seeing what the Lord will say to us. Excuse me, and I believe God will bless us. Until next time, thank you for watching. Take care. God bless. And remember, live by the word.